Pastor Lindsey Williams has been an ordained Baptist minister for 28 years. While working on the Trans-Alaska Oil Pipeline, he spent 3 years working and rubbed shoulders with some of the world's elite oil executives. He lived with them. He attended their board meetings. He wrote about his experiences in the eye-opening book, The Energy Non-Crisis, and due to the sensitive nature of the book, his life was actually threatened by an oil executive, and he had to stop selling his books and CDs for a time. In January of 2010, the same oil executive, who is now in poor health, told Pastor Lindsey, "I'm too old to care. Tell him everything." He joins us every month to bring us the latest information on globalist strategies. Pastor Lindsey Williams, welcome back to the Global Freedom Report.
Brent, gasoline went up 12 cents overnight right here in my area. Now, on March the 11th, the Muslim Brotherhood has scheduled a day of rage for Saudi Arabia. If that takes place, you could see within a matter of hours, because after all, Saudi Arabia supplies most of the crude oil for the United States of America, you could within a matter of hours see the price of gasoline go up to $6 and $7 and $8 a gallon at the gas pump if you could even get it.
Well, and we got a lot of time to talk about that because I definitely have some questions for you around that exact issue. My first question for you, however, is: are you safe and well?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Fortunately, we've been able to inform millions of Americans over the past few days. I was very fortunate on last Friday that Coast to Coast AM, the most listened to radio talk show in the world, allowed me to be on for 3 hours, and the audience was literally alive. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Wow, that is terrific.
3 million listeners for 3 hours time.
I have a question. I have a question for you concerning all the popular uprisings that have happened in the Arab world of late. And notwithstanding what you just said, and we'll talk about that shortly, but I have questions about the veracity of certain reports, specifically the situations in Libya and now Oman. As far as I know, and you know, I'm a journalist, so I look at these things with a questioning eye. I always look for verification, independent corroboration. And as far as I know, these particular reports, specifically the ones in Libya and Oman, okay, are all by unnamed witnesses and unnamed sources. My question for you: are the Arab uprisings a ruse, or are the real uprisings being used to mask covert actions in some countries such as Libya or Oman? Or am I just grasping at straws?
No, you're not grasping at straws at all. Let me go back in order to answer that question back to over 5 months ago. In fact, right at 5 months ago. Now, I was told by one of my informants, and the reason I had gotten this answer, by the way, even go back further, there is a well-known radio talk show host in America, I won't name his name, that said to me one day on the phone, he said, "Lindsey, would you please ask your elite friends if there's going to be a crisis in Iran? There's going to be a war in Iran." And I went to him and asked him an outright question. He had told me 2 years earlier there would be no war in Iran for 2 years. And so a number of months ago I said, "Will there be a war in Iran?" The talk show host wants to know. He said, "Chaplain, no." But he said, "I'll tell you what is going to happen." He said, "Within 4 to 5 months, there will be a crisis in the Middle East." I said, "Is it going to be Iran?" He wouldn't tell me. In fact, he would not tell me what nation it was going to be in. I knew it was going to happen, but I did not know where. It had been planned. The Muslim Brotherhood is supported by the elite of the world. They have made known very plainly to me that they were the ones that were causing this.
My guest is Pastor Lindsey Williams. They call him the pastor to the global elite. He has the direct ear of and gets to speak with those people that you and I only vaguely refer to as them, they, the ones pulling the strings, the Illuminati, the whatever you want to call them, the ones on top of that pyramid. Well, my guest has access to them, so heed what he has to say. Listen very carefully. And if you have any questions for him, give us a call right now, 888-747-1968. That's 888-747-1968 from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. If you're outside of that region, call direct 001-208-935 888-267-0094. And make sure you let us know you're calling from outside the U.S. and Canada. You can also ask questions and offer your comments through our live chat room at www.globalfreedomreport.com. Welcome back, Pastor Lindsey. Just before the break, you were explaining the situation. I'd asked you a question about whether some of these uprisings, such as Libya and Oman, might actually have something else going on. And, are all the reports we're getting really true? Are some of them maybe false? What's happening in that part of the world?
5 months ago, I was on the phone with one of these individuals. It was made known to me that within 4 to 5 months' time, there would be a major crisis or a crisis break out in the Middle East. I did not know where. When it started in Egypt, at that point, I needed to know where it was going. So I will tell you where it's going. It's going to spread through the entire Middle East. Libya just happened to be the next country. Down the line, you're going to see Jordan, you're going to see Tunisia, you're going to see Turkey, you're going to see Yemen, you're going to see Saudi Arabia. And when it hits Saudi Arabia, that is when it is going to be devastating to the United States of America. Now, there's a reason why they're doing this.
Pastor, pardon me, what was after Jordan?
Well, I do not know that it's in this order. Please do not say that this is the order it's going to be in. I'm just merely saying it will touch the entire Middle East, one country after the other, until the same type of an uprising that you saw with the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. Now you're seeing things take place in Libya. Every bit of this is supported, financed, and backed by the elite, and they want it for a reason. And the reason that they want it is what is so dumbfounding. I mean, to me, it was so startling. And this is what has literally put me on almost every patriotic website in the world within the past week and a half, is I told them why this is happening. Basically, what you're going to see is these outbreaks of the people, the Muslim Brotherhood agitating such things as they're doing right now, the day of rage that has already been announced for Saudi Arabia on March the 11th. And Saudi Arabia, as of this morning, is moving troops and tanks into Bahrain because they don't want it to happen. But the kings won't be able to stop it because the people are taking sides amongst themselves against the ruling elite. Now, there is a reason for all of this, and this is what your audience will find so interesting. They want this. The elite planned this. It has been planned for many, many years. I must go back very briefly. I know our time is short, but I'll try to do it as quick as I can. Back in the days when Mr. Henry Kissinger was Secretary of State in the United States of America, it wasn't long prior to that the Arabs had produced their oil fields, or I should say the major oil companies of America, who had their beginning back in the days of the first oil strike in America. They built the Arab oil fields. The Arabs had paid them back the money that they had built the oil fields for. Just after that, here were people who 60 years ago were nomads roaming the deserts riding camels, all of a sudden are rich as could be. Henry Kissinger went abroad to every one of them and said, I'd like to cut you a deal. We will buy oil from you. We will not build, this is so important, we will not build our American oil fields. We will buy oil from you. We are requesting you to take a certain percentage, and they never told me what percentage. They just said a percentage of what you buy oil, or we buy oil from you with, and turn around and buy our Federal Reserve issues. That is T-bills, securities, paper of all different kinds. After all, it was as sound as a dollar, and they did. They bought into it. Not only they bought it, but then China came along after they'd been made a great success. They were not oil, of course, but it made a success in another way because of Bush, Daddy Bush, who had been the ambassador to China many, many years ago, opened up China, moved our industry abroad, and China now has approximately $1 trillion of our paper. Is totally worthless because when this crisis continues to spread through the Middle East, the price of crude oil will go $200 or more. At the same time, you mark this down now. Here's their timetable. Their timetable is the dollar will be dead by the end of 2012. When the dollar collapses as a result of the crisis is going to evolve from this, and America's gasoline at the gas pump goes to $4 and $5 a gallon. Some places it's already $4 a gallon in 2 states in America. You'll see it go to 5 and 6 when this happens. And when it does, the paper that these countries thought was as sound as anything on the face of the earth will overnight become utterly worthless. It is all planned for a reason. They knew it when they set it up. They knew about how long it would take for America to get to the financial crisis that we are today. And then I was given just the other day what's going to happen from that point on. And this is what prompted me to tell America, because the average American has not the foggiest idea of the plans of the elite. At that point, when America is destitute, our dollar has basically crashed. We are sitting out here with plenty of food on the grocery store shelves, but the trucks can't afford to pay the price for fuel. You can't afford to heat your home. You don't know how you're going to get enough money to drive your automobile to work tomorrow morning. The American people at that point will beg. They will plead with the Federal Reserve for a new currency. They will beg for America's own oil fields to open up. I was told in 1976, it's reported in my book, The Energy Non-Crisis, under the chapter Gull Island Will Blow Your Mind. I was told that the Gull Island oil field, one of the largest fields of oil on the face of the earth, and I described the day that I was one of the few people ever watched that formed. And I was told at that time, I said, Ken, why don't you? The gentleman is passed away now, so I can use his name, Mr. Ken Fromm. I said, Ken, why don't you produce this oil for the American people? Why don't you give us back our great American dream? Why don't you let the American people have this? He said, Chaplain, we are not going to open up the Arctic Wildlife Refuge. We're not going to open up Gull Island. We're not going to give the American people their own oil until we have gotten crude oil to approximately $150 to $200 a barrel. I never knew how they would do it. I sit here literally spellbound as I am watching it take place, and they're going to open as of that time when you are begging and pleading with your government and the Federal Reserve to give you some relief from the problem you're in. They will open 4 oil fields. I'll tell you what they are. They've already been given to me. Number one, they are going to allow the Bakken oil field to be produced, which is in North Dakota, western South Dakota, and extreme Montana. They're going to open up a second oil field. This one you probably don't even know about. It was described in a special report that was given back in April of the 20th of 2006 in the Stanberry Report. It's approximately 1,000 feet under the surface of the Rocky Mountains. It has 2 trillion barrels of known recoverable oil. Thirdly, they're going to open up the Gull Island field. They're going to bring in the Arctic Wildlife Refuge. They will be the heroes to bring you out of the crisis that you're in by these new discoveries in the United States of America that they have known for years that are there. The atrocity of all of this is they can bring these oil fields on for $16 a barrel, but you're going to be paying at $200 a barrel while the elite of the world are bringing in their New World Order program, which is the reason they're doing this. They could provide you that oil for 60 cents, that gasoline for 60 cents a gallon at the gas pump, and every bit of it has done. Now, I want you to watch this, folks, please. Write these things down you've just heard. Put them beside your calendar, and when they happen, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say Lindsey Williams is a prophet. And if you dare say that, I'm going to tell you I am not a prophet.
No.
Years ago, I was able to watch them do these things and tell you today because I still have contact with some of them, Brent.
And what you have is you have credibility. This goes to credibility. This doesn't go to being a prophet. You mentioned there were 4. You said North Dakota, Montana, under the Rocky Mountains, Gull Island. What's the 4th?
Arctic Wildlife Refuge. Massive amounts of crude oil.